In early July, I believe Hasbro accidentally announced a new Fortnite vehicle because they put this vehicle up on the UK Hasbro Pulse website, not on the US, but it was at the San Diego Comic-Con to view and apparently to get, because I guess a few people got it. But then shortly after, it was put on Pulse US and I think back on UK, so everybody could order it, and that is the Motorboat. This thing right here is massive. It's big. Look at my head. I could put my head in it. Not really. But this thing is massive. We're going to slide it down here, and we're going to be taking a look at this today. I'm really excited. When I heard about this, this was just like, oh my goodness, that's really cool. So here is the boat right here, and for the most part, it is all one piece. There are 3 pieces that connect to this item, and that is this chair right here, and it will wiggle back and forth. You plop it in there and wiggle back and forth. The other is this yellow missile that detaches and plugs in that hole right there, if I can get it in there. And the third piece is this item right here. Why is this a separate piece? I absolutely don't know, but it is. Now, there's a few other little features, if you want to call it features, on here, and that is the in-game, when you are ready to do a boost, then the side booster air jet engines will pop out like that, and that's kind of cool. So you could display this or use this with the engines or the jets in or out. They just kind of go back and forth. Oddly enough, there's this thing right here that spins. Why do we need this to be a separate piece that spins? I don't know, unless they're going to, I wonder if there's a connection to the upgrade shark and some of like the fishing pole or something. I wonder if we could attach the fishing pole to the end. Then you could have someone like Meowscles jet ski behind us. That would be kind of cool. We got to look into that at some point. The other thing is the steering wheel right here. It rotates too. Why? I don't know. It's not going to do anything. Now, what I'm really shocked and really surprised about is that there's nothing automated on here. And what I mean by automated is this missile launcher here. I was sure, just looking at the pictures, that you could push this. This would have been a button. You would have pushed it and it launched. There's no button here. This thing just sits in here. So why did they include this? Why did they do it this way? I don't know, unless they are expecting kids to get this to play with, and then, then you could grab and go boom and whatever, but I don't know. So the engine also kind of looks like something that would be removable. You could push, you could pull, you could do something with, because it's definitely a different piece right there. I don't know what else they were thinking there. Really not sure. Do I like this thing? I love this thing. Is it expensive? It's expensive. It's like $75 to $80. It's not a cheap vehicle. So it's actually pretty surprising that Hasbro actually released this, because they don't tend to release a lot of vehicles, except for maybe, like, I know there's a lot of motorcycles out there between Hasbro Legends, Marvel Legends, G.I. Joe Classified. I'm not sure if there are vehicles in the other lines. There isn't really a lot of anything that I'm aware of. They did the Hiss Tank as a HasLab, $300 HasLab. So this being a $75 or so boat, I mean, it's cool. Will we ever see this on retail store shelves? Most likely not. I believe that this is a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, and it's a possibility that, depending on how well it sells, will be if they do any more. I would love to see some more 6-inch Fortnite vehicles for the line. I mess around with them. Now, one thing I haven't shown you yet that it comes with also, I'll set this to the side, is this display stand. And yes, it's designed to look like water. So you can put this on a bookshelf, you can put this on a table, you can do something. Now, there's a little hole that's right back there, and what that's for, we'll flip this over, is for this separate piece right here. So you kind of hook this in like right there, and you've got a boat display stand. Okay, that's cool. Well, this is a boat, so I know a big question on a lot of people's minds, maybe all of yours, maybe not. I mean, people have talked about this online. Can it float? Well, no, it can't. So I took it out to a lake and I played around with it a little bit, and it doesn't float at all. It's very disappointing. You flip this thing over and you kind of think it would. It kind of has a feeling like it would, but there's all these little points all along here. There are seams where this goes in and out. There's a big hole on both sides. It's not gonna float. You might get to last for a couple seconds, but it's going to go down pretty quickly. Once it gets waterlogged, this sucker goes down and it's waterlogged. Now, it'll fill up with water. You can empty it. You're going to need to like hold it this way, or you're going to need to hold it this way and let it drain. And this took maybe 2 days, 2.5 days after I drained it to have the rest of the interior water that was kind of, there's a little bit sloshing here and there. It took a couple days for it to finally evaporate and drain out. And now I shake it around and I don't hear any water in there. So, you know, even though it doesn't float and it doesn't really, like, what I think would be really cool, I'm trying to hook this thing there. What would be really cool is if it floated well enough that you could like push it through the water, or yeah, something. Would it really take that much, Hasbro, to have made this float? You know, just looking at some of the features here, I think I could have dealt, this is cool to have the engines go in and out, but I think I could have lived with them either in or out had this been sealed. Just a thought, you know, this would have been a great, talk about a level up for this motorboat. This would have been so awesome to have it float. Just a glorified display piece. Yeah, I mean, it looks cool, looks accurate, looks great, but where's that playability? I mean, you can get it, okay, don't get me wrong, when I was a kid, I would get the boats, and I didn't always have places to take boats for G.I. Joe boats and stuff, and some of them floated and some of them didn't. Maybe most of them actually did. I don't remember. You still have carpet. You can get this thing and you can room it around on the carpet. That's true. And it's not that big of a deal if you don't have water. Then you can still have a lot of fun playing with it on in your front room, on the floor or something. But I don't know. There's something about a boat and a bathtub or a pool, or if you go out to a lake. You know, it's a lot of fun. A river, you know, put the sucker in the river and let it go downstream, and maybe you'll never, ever, ever see this $75 boat again. So I'm going to show you how it's compatible with the figures. So here we have it stocked with a few Hasbro Fortnite figures, 6-inch figures, and well, we're gonna put Brutus in the driver's seat, the guy in the big white suit who can get the dirtiest, easiest. We'll put him in the driver's seat. Why? Well, because Hasbro didn't put any holes in his feet, so he can't actually sit or stand on any of the pegs in here. This boat does have, what's it, 2, 4, 6 pegs. 2 here, 2 there, well, 2 here, 2 here, 1 there, and 1 over there. And, oh, I'm sorry, there are a couple pegs under the driver's seat, but it's kind of difficult to use them. Now, I don't know if it's the ankles or how the figures are designed, but most of these pegs, if I'm moving this around too much, I need to put, like the ones in the back, on both pegs, both feet on both pegs. I can't put one figure per peg. They typically fall right over pretty easily. I mean, heck, Funk Ops was on 2 pegs and he fell over really pretty easy. Are they loose? No, not really. Could they be tighter? I don't know if they could really be tighter or not, if that's the problem. But I think it's just because the figures are heavy. Try putting Cluck in here and see how well that bird stands on this boat. Not going to be very well. But this is what it looks like holding a few of the figures. Now let's jump over and see how it looks with Marvel Legends. So I have to hurry and get this one done because some of these Marvel Legends do not want to stand on here. And it's because their holes are a little bit bigger for the pegs, so they're a little bit looser as they stand. I have had Pirate Deadpool here for quite some time, and I've wanted a good excuse to use him, and it seemed like a motorboat is probably the best opportunity I'm going to have to get to use him. It's not a cool pirate sailing ship or anything, but it's still a boat that goes on water, and unfortunately, he's actually probably the loosest. there, see, man overboard, or pool overboard, right? I don't know, dead overboard? I don't know. But some of them are a little bit tighter, and they can work. Some of them can work. Spider-Man here is a little bit loose. Don't judge me that I put She-Hulk as the driver of the boat. I'm sure the rage and all that stuff was going to prevent her from thinking logically and coherently about driving. I don't know. But she was the only one that I immediately had with hands that would grip the steering wheel. So I decided, let's put She-Hulk as the pilot or the driver. But we're just wiggling this around a little bit. I know a lot of you are probably going to buy this thing, put it on a shelf, put it on stand, and mount the figures and walk away. But consider an earthquake. If you live in earthquake territory, this might be what happens. Anyway, let's check out the final group, G.I. Joe Classified. So like with all the other figures I've shown on this boat, Classified has the same problem, and that is they are wobbly and wiggly. They don't stand on these pegs very well. You're going to have to do some very creative balancing when you put this on your shelf. Don't expect these figures to stand up very well if you want to take this out onto the water at all. It has a roundish bottom, as I showed you earlier, and so if you're going to put figures on this boat, you're going to want to make sure it's on the figure stand, because it will wobble around, and as it wobbles around, your figures may decide to take a tumble like that. So, I find this to be a little bit obnoxious to put the figures on, just because they are constantly falling off, and you put it on and then they can fall right off. It's not just the G.I. Joe figures, because this is a Fortnite thing, but it's with Fortnite figures as well. Some of the holes are a little bit tighter, some are a little bit looser. Apparently there is no real universal hole system. I don't know what to say. I'm not trying it with any other action figure lines, because there's such a variety of action figure hold feet out there. I'm not sure exactly what to say. I'm picking up these things as I talk. So I'm not going to be trying it with a lot of other lines, because they vary so much. I'm sticking with some of these Hasbro lines, and I'm not going to try the Star Wars figures because I only have one or two, but it's not here with me. But I think you get an idea. I think you get a sense of what this boat is like. So yeah, if you're going to do much with it, you could display it and put it here. It's gonna stay still, which is really nice. It's not gonna, well, I don't have it in here properly. There we go. But yeah, it's a lot more sturdy and steady. So when you go to mount your figures, then it's not going to roll as easy. One of the other problems is when you're putting figures on this, as you weigh down the side, then it tends to want to tip and roll that direction, making it more difficult to put the figures on the other side, because you put them over here and then this guy's already starting to fall off. So this is going to be, if you're displaying this, is going to be a bug. Nature. But when you put this up, you're going to want to make sure this is in a sturdy, steady, unmoving place. Otherwise, you're going to be constantly wrestling with figures falling off, and even just sitting there without movement, you still may be struggling with figures falling off. It's a cool idea. There's a few things I wish they could refine just a little bit more. Will we get another one of these? I don't know. They might want to use the mold, so they might offer another one. That's all I got for you today. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.